Yo, did bulletin board material matter to you guys? Or is it more fun?
Depends on what was said.
True.
Depends on what they said it about. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, this is going to lead to our first topic, but actually, I'll bring it back to something on Friday. So, AJ Taylor Rashi was on with us on Friday, and he spent most of his 20s in the minors, and then he debuted, and he said he kept receipts and even sent text messages back to some that said he couldn't do it. Do you like that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that's kind of petty, sending text messages to people, but I get it. I mean, people handle things in different ways, but I don't know you need to. I mean, just being in the big leagues is enough. You don't need to send text messages, but that was his way of keeping receipts and making sure people knew. So good for him.
I'd agree. I wouldn't send a text, but I definitely remember the guys that were haters early on. Not like haters in the minor leagues. There was a lot of haters in the minor leagues.
Who are the haters in the minor leagues? The players, coaches,
everybody
saying
because you're not there. Yeah, because you're not. They're not there. You're not there. You're never going to make it. Whatever. Like, and those are the people. The minor leagues. It's because it's day to day. It's like so much every single day. Like you just kind of start tuning those people out when you're in high school or college, and people are like hating on you. It's like, wait a minute. Like, I'm probably one of the better people out here, and you're hating on me because you think I'm not going to make it. Or in the minor leagues, it's like everybody's right here, and then somebody just comes out, he'll never make it. You're just like, all right, well, I'm gonna leave you alone because I got goals to reach.
Mm-hmm. Pessimistic haters. Okay, just wanted to know. Let's charge.
Charging the mound.
So the Blue Jays had a great comeback win over the Houston Astros. I'm not going to bury the lead here. We'll get to the game and also some bad news for Houston, some good news for Toronto, and some bad news for Toronto. We'll get to Bo Bichette, but we might as well start with the juicy stuff, right? Buck Martinez, great broadcaster, calling Blue Jays games for a long time now, with this quote: "The Yankees, they're not a good team. I don't care what their record is. They have a lot of wild pitches, make a lot of mistakes in the field. They don't run the bases very well." So, AJ, if you're a Yankee, do you care at all about this quote?
Not really. I mean, it's the same thing the Dodgers said last year. So why now we're going to get up in arms about something that people have been talking about for almost a year at this point? I mean, Buck Martinez has a right to his opinion. He works for the Blue Jays. Of course, he's going to pump up the Blue Jays and try to take down the other teams. Now, when you see him, I'm sure when the Yankees see him and Buck comes in and tries to say hi to some of the Yankee people, they might be a little cold to him, but it's nothing new. It's not like this wasn't said for the last year. Dodgers said this. Everyone hate the Dodgers in Yankee land because the Dodgers said this after they beat them. They basically said the same thing.
I think it would mean more right now if Kevin Gausman said this, or if Chris Bassett said this, or Bo Bichette went on the IL and said this. Like, we'll be fine. They don't play very well, but Buck said it. You know, it kind of washes. It kind of comes out in the wash eventually. But you know, they're just like, okay, fine. You know, join more haters.
I mean, if he got rid of they're not a good team part, the rest of it tracks.
Yeah, I mean, but he's basically just saying they're not going to win because of this. They make too many mistakes of fundamentals, and that's exactly what the Dodgers guys all said last year when they beat them. They said we knew if we just kept putting the ball in play, eventually they'd mess it up. And that's basically, I mean, if you watch the game last night, the one inning that the Tigers scored 9 runs, whatever it was, there was like one real hit, a blue pit, and then like 7 walks and like 10 wild pitches. And it was an ugly inning.
The Yankees counter is, I mean, they're tops in runs per game, homers, OPS, a number of offensive categories. Plus, they represented the American League in the World Series last year. They're not a bad team.
No. They're not.
Are they just making a point there? And do you think that he's more emphasizing Kratz the baseball part of team, right? Like if the Yankees are a, quote, bad team, then the Brewers are the best thing since sliced bread?
I think he would say that. And I don't think either I don't think either comment is entirely true. It's more an opinion because unless he has a crystal ball and knows how the postseason is going to go, maybe there's no plays that the Yankees need to make. Maybe Rodon and Fried just dice up the lineup. They go 7 innings each. You never have to go to Fernando Cruz. You just go Weaver, Bednar, and the game's over. Like, there's ways of hiding deficiencies in the playoffs, but when you have to beat a team, when you play all 26 guys or when you get deeper into the roster, then everybody's underbelly is going to come up. Like, I think it's more of an indictment on the American League. I think, you can say that there's probably 4 teams that are better than every American League team in the National League. So maybe the American League's not that good.
Mm-hmm. Well, Blue Jays fans,
they're riding high. They're riding high.
I mean, they had a big win yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a no-hitter broken up in the 6th by, guess who? George Springer hit a freaking tank, having a huge year. Comeback player of the year lock, unless I'm missing someone. Also stressful game. Manager John Schneider with the quote after the contest, "I need a beer." IKF, huge pinch hit 2-run double in the bottom of the 9th to tie up the game. And the post-game interview with him was great. He's like, "I'm so happy to be in Toronto." Point taken. He goes from Pittsburgh to this. Pretty cool. And tied it up at 3 against Brian Abreu. So we watched the Astros bullpen crumble, which we've been talking about.
Yeah, I'm more worried about the Astros than the Blue Jays right now. we keep talking about the Mariners being the team, but what about the Astros being the team that doesn't make it? We haven't even mentioned that because their starting rotation is in shambles right now, other than Hunter Brown. Framber Valdez is chucking balls at his own teammates. Arrieta's out. They lose Garcia last night. I don't know. Their bullpen, Hader's out. They lost the other lefty the other day. He's out. Ort's struggling right now. The Astros, the Astros to me are the one that we need to be looking at saying, man, what's going to happen in Houston? Because they are not playing well. The Mariners just kind of went through it. They went through their last East Coast swing, and now they're going to be around Seattle a lot for the last 15, 20 games. So Rangers are playing really well. They won the first 2 games against the Brewers. So, listen, there's one team that we need to be thinking about maybe being a little bit worried. I know they're the Astros, and we feel like they're slump-proof. Might be the Houston Astros.
I went on the show this morning, and they asked me if I'm worried about the Astros. I'm like, you got to stop thinking the Astros aren't going to make the playoffs. But yesterday with Josh Smith on the show, he glazed over the fact that he's like, yeah, I think we can catch the Mariners. But he also said, I think the division's in sight. And when you let other teams in your division back in the race at the end, they feel, it seems like they look at it like, we got a shot. So maybe somebody catches the Astros. They just don't have, they can't lose a game when Abreu's in it. That was a huge hit by IKF in a playoff environment that now, is Abreu available tonight? Is Abreu available the next night? Like, they need everything to line up to win these games right now because they're not scoring that many runs.
Did you guys see the Vladdy play in extras to erase Jose Altuve? John Schneider was like, he literally recited it. He goes, I'm in the dugout, and I'm going, no, no, no. Yes.
That is a play.
It was an extra.
That is a play that every high school, they do ground ball. You're doing infield, outfield. And they hit one to the first baseman, and every high school throws the ball to third. It irritates me. I'm like, this is a play that happens twice a big league season. And the fact that he got Altuve on that play from as deep as he was, like, to me, it's a super risky play. But he got him by a mile, so it wasn't even that much of a risk. But it is like, so many high school coaches do that, practice that play, and it's like, please, just field the ground ball. Touch first base. That's it. That's all. I need you to get the out.
But also, you're in high school. You're not Vladdy Jr.
Todd Helton used to be really good at doing this all the time. Todd Helton used to always try that. And it would work.
From that deep? From that deep,
though?
work.
Todd Helton would do it because Todd Helton could do it. I saw in the playoffs Kevin Millar get chucked out at third in 2005 by Iguchi, our second baseman, on the same play. I mean, Altuve's not even – he's probably thinking like, oh, I'm at third easy. And next thing you know, their throw is right in front of him, and he's out. So it was a great play by Vlad, just one you don't see a lot. I don't know why we don't see it as much. It's like a foregone conclusion. The ball sits to the right side, we're getting the out. But in extra innings, it's a great play by Vlad.
And he made that, and he had the infield single. It was directly in Altuve's face. He threw Altuve out, and then he had the infield single on a ground ball to Altuve. That Vlad showed off that elite level first baseman speed that he has. I think he was the fastest sprint speed of any first baseman when we had done that earlier in the year.
Vladdy was?
Pretty sure. It was like Vladdy at first, Shea Langoliers at catcher. We just hit the rare ones. It was the sprint speed thing that we had hit on. No? Who is it?
Vladdy Jr.? He's 32nd percentile.
Of first baseman.
Of first baseman. Or no, total, but still, there's first basemen that are higher than that. I promise you.
Okay.
I will find them for you.
He was cooking on that infield single. When he did that last night, I was like, oh, I remember when we talked about that. But I remembered wrong. I misremembered.
I mean, I would say he's probably more athletic than most people give him credit for. That would probably be the way to put it. But I'll find the sprint speed one for you. We have the article in the Roar. I'll look for it. Any concerns about Bo Bichette, AJ? Knee sprain, goes on the shelf. Also, on the other side, Anthony Santander is coming back soon. 50 games, shoulder inflammation, rehab assignment, cranking.
But is that going to mess up what they have going? Because their outfit with Varsho and Springer and Barger and some of these other guys that are just running around out there have been pretty good. So why don't we just – I don't know. I mean, he hasn't done much, and they're playing pretty well. So kind of like, do we want to mess with it? I don't know.
What would you do?
Well, you got to bring him back. He's making too much money. You just got to be careful and hope he comes back hot because they've been playing well without him. And Bo Bichette is a big deal but they do have IKF who can pick it. But Bo Bichette to the IL is a bigger deal to me than Santander coming back at the moment because of the way they're playing. But Bo Bichette going down hurts. And they just need him to be 10 days and back.
I just wonder if Santander, when he comes back, how much of a leash do they give him? Because to me, he puts more fear in the lineup than without him. No offense to the guys who have been doing well, but everybody looks at that lineup and they're like, I don't know if these guys are going to beat us. And then they end up beating you. But I think with Santander in there, there's a level of fear that one swing can put them up.
Bo also just completely returned back to what he was, right? Last year was the outlier.
Mm-hmm. Bo's having a good year with 311, 840 OPS. I mean, just the problem is you have Davis Schneider. Miles Straw's having a really good year for him, for Miles Straw.
What a pick.
With his defense. I mean, Springer's DH. You can't really DH him because Springer's been DHing a lot. Varsho plays a solid center field. Lil Perfido's back up right now. Just where do you play Santander is the question for me.
Right field.
I guess.
That's what they brought him in for. I'm not saying he has to play every day. I mean, you look at the Brewers, they told Rhys Hoskins, hey, you know what? You're going to kind of be, they didn't say bench role, but there's not really a lane for him to get at bats right now. So he said, I'm going to be here, ready for whatever situation they need him. That's tough. I mean, Rhys Hoskins, I think, I guess I shouldn't speak too quickly, but I think he's done more than Santander in his career, but Santander has done it more recently. And I think you have to make a managerial decision. Like, is his bat in the lineup? Even if it's not, if he comes out and he's banging the first week, it's going to be no doubt they're going to have him in the lineup. But it's if he just kind of goes through a little spell of getting his feet wet in the big leagues.
Sorry, I got really fixated on the whole sprint speed thing.
Okay.
Ezekiel Duran, who
not a first baseman,
isn't really a first base. He's listed on here. Maybe has he played more first base than anything else?
He played first base this year.
Yeah, so he's 78th. So he's first among first basemen they have listed. Second is Luke Raley, Who is sneaky fast? Luke Raley on there. Next first baseman with a minimum of playing time here, because a lot of these guys are like 5 seconds into the big leagues, like Warming Bernabel, who we haven't really talked
big league
about.
Name ever. Warming.
Yeah. Romy
He's not
Gonzalez.
top 5. I was wrong.
Yeah, Romy Gonzalez should count. I think it was Spencer Steer. Spencer Steer, I think, was the one on that article.
Okay.
Does that sound right? Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
That's fair.
All right, let's get to Tyler Glasnow next on FT. We are longtime fans of Omaha Steaks, and I am drooling looking at the website right now, featuring USDA certified tender steaks, and also during their Red Hot sale event going on right now this fall, 50% off site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Plus, for the FT fam, an extra $35 off with promo code FOUL at checkout. You've been a big fan of Omaha Steaks since your early days as a pro.
Brings me back to my low A-ball days, because we used to survive on this. We get a big order at the beginning of the year, cook them on our little electric grill, a can of peas, some mac and cheese. That was dinner for 4. We survived off Omaha Steaks, and it still has a special place in my heart.
You thrived.
Well,
you guys ate like kings.
Yeah.
That's special. Get fired up for fall grilling with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide during their Red Hot sale event, and for an extra $35 off, promo code FOUL at checkout. 50% off at omahasteaks.com and an extra $35 off with promo code FOUL at checkout. See site for details. Dig in. What did we think of this catch by Fernando Tatis Jr. in a losing effort? Tough loss for the Padres yesterday. That's pretty good.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a home run. That's a legit home run robbery.
They lost
That would've
4-2. Tyler Stevenson, big home run off Robert Suarez in this game. Padres fall, Dodgers win.
That would have been his other home run. That was Tyler Stevenson that he robbed. He went right center, and then he hooked one down the line against Robert Suarez.
Padres can't hit. That's the bottom line. Padres can't hit. Michael King pitched pretty good yesterday. Littell matched him. And then the bullpen, I mean, Robert Suarez gave up the homer, but they can't hit. They just don't hit. I mean, Tatis has lost his power. O'Hearn's been all right. Machado's been okay. Sheets has been okay. Laureano was great when he got there. Jackson Merrill's finally back. But Iglesias, Fermin, Cronenworth, it's kind of been – they just don't hit for power, so they have to string hits together, and that's hard in this league.
Yeah, last I checked, there was bottom 3, I think, still in home runs on the year. That's tough.
Scotty loves Luis Ariz, but you can't win with 9 Luis Arizes. I'm not saying
they only have one.
Nah, you gotta drive the ball some. Just saying. Will it hurt them?
They only have one, Luis Ariz.
I get it.
You can have some Luis Arizes. They
need to get driven in by somebody.
Yeah. And they also usually it helps that guy can run, and he doesn't really run.
No. Warfield, really. All right, here we go. Tyler Glasnow back on Foul Territory. Good to see you, Tyler. Crazy last few days. We were excited to talk to you about the near no-nos that are occurring. How you doing, and do you know how many no-hitters we've seen in baseball this year?
I'm good, first of all, and no. Is there 0, right? Isn't this like a no-hitter season or something? Yeah.
None.
What's a normal
Since
no-hitter
2005.
season?
Yeah. 2005.
Wait, what?
Last time there was not a no-hitter in a season was the year that the Chicago White Sox were led by AJ Pierzynski and won a World Series.
Wait, how many? What's an average year? Like 2, 1, 2?
It's around 2.
2? Yeah.
Yeah, it's about 2 per year. But the last 15, they're averaging about 4 until this year.
Oh, damn.
So,
well,
way to go, Tyler. You almost got one.
So
Not quite,
close.
but yeah.
Well, take us through it. Were you like, please, or were you like, I know you're going to cap me. I'm already at, what was it, 105 or something through 7?
I think at 107. The start before I had no hit through 6, and I had like a normal pitch count or like enough to do it, and then my 7th inning sucked, so I didn't do it then. And that time it probably felt a little bit more real. I think this time I had like 50 pitches in the first 2 innings, so I kind of figured just after 7 with 107 pitches, I figured they weren't gonna let me keep going. I would have loved to, but I just think like with playoffs coming up and I guess like my last few years of like injuries, like I completely understand. Obviously, too, anytime you're in the game and like someone asks you if you want to stay in, you're always going to say yes. It's kind of, I'll always be like, yeah, just let me keep going. But I respect the decision to take me out. It's fine.
What did he even give you the option? Or when you came off the mound, was Doc like, hey, good job, you're done?
Yeah, more of that one, which I kind of expected him to a little bit. But yeah, I didn't really have like the option to go back out or anything. If I did, I would have tried to argue my case, but it is what it is. The decision was made.
But you missed. You got scratched just a few days before. Mm-hmm. Does that go into the decision for Doc? Is Doc like, hey, you know what? Your back was a little cranky. We're gonna definitely
probably.
Not push. I get it. It's 107, but
yeah, I think maybe a little bit. I think just with that. The 107 pitch count, playoffs coming up. I think it was like a factor of everything. I think too, it's kind of weird. Like, not all 107 is created equal. I guess. Like, there's been some starts where I'm like 80 pitches in, and it's like high stress innings and everything like that. And you can kind of feel it. But that game, I didn't have a ton of runners on or any like sort of high stress innings, and it felt like a pretty. I don't know. I felt like I could have gone a lot more. But I just think it kind of depends on the innings and what the 107 pitches were, I think. But yeah, it is what it is. We ended up winning, which is good. So that's all I want.
I was going to say, what's the max you could go? What do you think you could
pitches?
Throw if you were pressed? Yeah,
I think a lot. The thing that's weird about starting is like once you get to a certain limit, like you don't feel like you get into that like anaerobic state. When you're at 100 pitches, you don't feel like you need to stop throwing. There's certain games, maybe like a couple a year, where you're really fighting yourself all game and there's like stressful innings and you're feeling tired. But something around like 85, 90 pitches, something happens. You get like that second wind. And in my brain, I feel like I can throw a ton of pitches. But I think that's more of like adrenaline and like that anaerobic thing kicking in. And I don't know if that's like the best measurement. But it feels like you can pitch forever at a certain point. I think a lot of starters would like relate to that feeling, but after a certain amount of pitches, it just feels like you can just keep going and going and going.
So how much more sore are you then once you hit that, what'd you say, 80 to 90 pitch count the next day? Like, is it longer recovery or is it longer days of recovery or more sore the next day?
It's kind of, there's not like a formula to it, I'd say. I think the only thing I can really notice is if I have like, I'll have some games where I'm 4 or 5 innings and it's high stress. Like mechanics aren't as smooth. You're kind of fighting yourself. Like every pitch feels a little bit different. It's kind of more of a mental grind to stay locked in. And it's just like a lot of effort to manufacture the same stuff, same velo. And then there's certain games like 2 days ago when I pitched where everything is just kind of lined up. And I think like the stressful innings is the biggest thing for me, I guess. So I think like this time around, I feel really good. I don't feel that sore. But there's some starts previously where I'll be at like 85 pitches and like a ton of runners on in the stretch a lot, doing all that. And then you feel a bit more sore. But this week I feel fine. I also had like being scratched, I had like 9 days. So I had a lot more time. But I feel totally normal. Probably more on like the better end of normal after this one.
That's good. That's good. You mentioned the key though in your no-hitter or almost no-hitter that you guys won, because not long ago, not many games before that, you guys had 8 2/3.
Yeah.
Yamamoto, here he was right there. Halladay hits the home run, and then all hell broke loose. What were you guys thinking on the bench? Because I can't even imagine 8 2/3. You're thinking, hey, Yamamoto, here we go. We got a no-hitter, guys. And then all of a sudden, everyone's walking off. It was one of the craziest games I've ever seen.
Yeah, that was when I had like the little back spasm. They sent me home to get imaging. Everything was fine, but I wasn't actually in the dugout that game. From what I could tell on TV, it was pretty I don't know. That would have been pretty rough to sit in there for that. But yeah, it just seemed like everything that last inning, what went wrong, could have gone wrong, and felt bad for Yama. I think like the ultimate thing that sucks is like ending up not winning that game. But I don't know. He pitched really well. He looked really good, and that was a tough loss for sure. That's probably one of the like worst ones I've seen or been a part of. Just the feeling, of course, like just what could have been and then how it ended up happening. Just for like the full 180. I've never really been a part of anything like that.
So was it your fault? Did you move in your hotel room? Like were
Yes.
you sitting there on the edge of your bed and you're like, holy crap, I gotta pee, but I can't because Yama's gotta. Okay, it's the 8th inning. Come on, let's go. So did you hear anything of anybody that moved during the 9th inning there, where it was like it was your fault?
No, honestly, I was back home. I was just watching the game, and then I went back and like I didn't even want to ask any questions. It was already like a few days past, and then I didn't want to bring it back up, so I didn't bring it up again or talk about it. It was one of those things where we all saw what happened, and we were like, let's just get that out of our mind and just continue to play baseball.
Are you a no talk guy? Are you a no talk during a no hitter guy, or are you like when you were in the 6th, 7th inning? Were you don't talk to me guy, or were you it's okay to still talk to me, and we can talk about me having a no hitter?
That's fine. I don't think anyone would come up and talk about a no hitter just because like there are certain people who maybe you can't. But no, not really. I'd rather just keep it normal. You know, like I think everyone's already aware of what's going on, and I'm not a very superstitious person, so like. I believe that if you do or don't talk about it, I don't think anyone has that much power to like dictate a no hitter from like a superstition. But I'm a big like in between innings. I don't sit in the dugout a ton. I'm a big pacer. Like I don't really like sitting down, and I like to do like keep my heart rate up a little bit. I don't like to just sit there. So I'm usually in the tunnel doing stuff like moving around, whatever it is I need to do, like Theragun, whatever it is. So I'm kind of down there talking to like coaches will come in, but I'm not like pacing around in the dugout. It looks kind of crazy with me walking back and forth, so I just do it in the tunnel.
All right. Well, we have 2 catchers on here, and there is one person that can dictate whether it's a no hitter or not.
You know what I mean? Not from words, from
I know what you
calling,
mean.
of course. Yeah,
pitch calling. Ben Rortved's
Yeah.
out there. He was with the team for like 1 minute. Like his uniform was still drying. Like.
Yeah.
And he goes out and almost gets 2 no-hitters in 3 games. How hard is it to make that transition to a new catcher? And how crazy is it that he came in and did this for you guys in these 3 days?
Yeah, it's nuts. I actually met him last year at a wedding, and he was with the Rays, and I had some mutual friends with him, and I got to know him relatively well, like the night we talked. And he's like super engaging. I think he takes catching obviously very seriously. Like he's always been known for his glove and his pitch calling, and for him to come in and like fit in, he's very personable and like fits in well. It's hard to like jump around teams and stuff like that, but he came in, kind of had the feeling of like, oh, this guy's been here a while. He's very comfortable. Got to talking to him, came in, caught a really good game for Yama, and then it was just not. We got on the same page quick. Like first inning. We had some pitch calling, some setup stuff, and then like as the game went on, we got into a really good flow, and we were on the same page the whole time. How my stuff was like leaking, like early on, I was yanking 4 seams and sliders, so we kind of reverted to like a sinker. He started shifting into righties with the sinker to try to get me more online, and that kind of started getting my slider back on. My 4 seam sort of sucked the whole game, but he kind of navigated me back into the zone really well. And then last night, Sheehan pitched and had a no hitter into the 6th. I guess that wasn't him, but like just in general, like with the no hitters and stuff, it's kind of wild. But yeah, I really love throwing him. He was kind of awesome.
That's good.
Yeah. Hey,
we haven't talked to him since he pitched in Tampa. Didn't you pitch in Tampa not that long ago? Hey, what?
No, I pitched the series before. I was in Tampa. I didn't pitch that series though.
You didn't pitch. What was it like back in Tampa? In
Hot.
your old stomping grounds, you didn't have to pitch. So I guess that's good.
Yeah, it was. It's the outdoor stadium in the summertime was crazy. That was the hottest game I think any of us have played. But it was cool to be back home and just to see everyone, like the staff and everyone walking around. Like I hadn't been back there in a long time. They gave me like a tribute video. That was really cool. I got to go back home and sleep at home and see family and everything. So it's a good like little reset. I think anytime you can go back and like sleep in your own bed during the season, it kind of gives you this nice like at home feeling, and you've just been gone for so long. But I enjoyed it. I like playing there or the town itself.
All right. Every single freaking night, we have some issue with the pitch com. Every night,
yeah.
there's something.
Yeah.
Have you ever had an issue like you, Darvish, had the other day where he was like pushing sinker? He was like over here pushing sinker, and Felix Fermin didn't hear it or something, and he called curveball, and so you was like, sure, curveball, and then gave up a dinger.
No, I've had the only thing, I don't call my own pitches, or like I don't have a plate or whatever the thing is called. I just kind of like will shake off with the catcher. The only thing that sucks sometimes is the pitch clock when there's like a guy on and like I'll get a sign kind of late. And you're trying to shake back to a sign you want and there's not enough time. And there's been multiple times where I'm like at 3 seconds and then like the last sign, I just go, all right, whatever. And I'll just throw it. And I'm like trying to get to like a slider, let's say. And I've got 2 seconds left, and it's like he just happens to be on sinker or fastball. I just go, fine, whatever. Like I'll get it out of the zone, or I'll put it where I want to try to put it. But it happens kind of a lot. There's a guy on, you can step off, but there's no one on. There's been some times with like 3-2, 2-2, where it's like I can't. I just have to throw whatever I can throw. It just sucks too because like hitters will get a timeout and at bat, and I always like figured we'd get like 1 or 2 pitch comm things an inning. And like I think after a certain amount of time you can't step off and be like my pitch comm's not working, or like it's not even you can't get to the sign in time. I wish we had like one of those an inning to try to get on the same page, because it's so many times it's 3-2 with no one on and you're like, all right, now I got to throw a pitch I don't want to throw.
Should there be a timeout? Like is there a way to like say, oh well, this could cause an injury, this could cause, obviously you could be like, oh, I don't want to throw that pitch, that could cause a run. Major League Baseball doesn't care about that. But is there a way that you could, as a players' union, bring it up and say, hey, pitchers should have a timeout, which I think they should, but, you know, from a starting pitcher, it means more.
Yeah, I think a lot of guys have talked about that. Like if a hitter gets a timeout in at bat, which I understand as well, like I think we should be able to have a timeout. And there's a couple different things I wish we could change. Like the pitch clock for the warm up in between innings, I wish it was a little bit longer, just because it takes you a little bit of time to get out there. You have time for like 5 or 6 warm ups, and I think for me, especially like my first couple pitches are always slower in the inning, just because I don't feel like I'm fully ready to go, and I'm like in the tunnel doing stuff. I know a couple guys have some issues with that, and like I do think we should get like at least a timeout in at bat. And I think in the whole scope of trying to save time for games, like a little bit extra time and some timeouts is probably going to add like a minute, 2 minutes to the overall time of the game. So I don't know. I think it would be kind of nice.
Sorry, Kratz, I thought you had another one. I want to ask you about a dude that just returned to the team who seems to have an impeccable record when he's playing for the Dodgers, and that's Max Muncy. Do you see it? And are guys joking about it at this point? Because it's been going on for a few years now.
When were you saying like when playing, when we have like a good team record? I agree. The guy like grinds out at bats, like good OPS. Like he's good. I always remember too pitching against him. Like he's just a good hitter. Like great on base, grinds out at bats. Just yeah. I don't know if I'm sure they're correlated a bit for sure. Like we got a really good team. There's a lot of guys on our team that I'm sure if they play our record is good, but. Yeah, like when he's in the lineup, it's a noticeable difference, in my opinion, for sure.
Last one for you. This one popped up about a week and a half ago. What did you think of the Framber Valdez cross-up situation?
Yeah, that was pretty gnarly. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that. I'm sure. Have you guys seen it more? I guess like maybe when you've played, was there more of that, or like no? I don't know. And I also will say I don't. No, I haven't talked to him. I don't actually know if it was intentional. Like it potentially seems that way, but I don't have like definitive answers on any of that. So I don't know, but that was weird. I'd never really seen anything like that.
Had you ever thought about doing that? Had you ever been like so mad at a catcher? Let's say it was, I'm not saying you said it. I'm saying it was intentional in my opinion. Have you ever been that mad at a catcher that you're like, this is what I'm going to do?
No, not at all. I also think like my attitude towards catchers is a bit different. Like, because when I pitch, I'm a big, like, I'll throw some 38-foot curveballs, I'll spike some 54-foot fastball. Like, I'm more like, my bad. So I'm not really trying to. It's hard enough catching me. I don't think I've ever gotten mad at a catcher like no, not really. I think there's been times I still would do anything like you get mad at an umpire. You used to see like dudes call curveball or whatever. Like the catcher will drop down, the heater will be like a heater up at the umpire. That makes more sense to me. Still not going to do it. Don't like it, but like that type of thing makes more sense to me than doing it to your catcher for sure. I've never wanted to do that ever.
Well, you summed it up and you said you would automatically be, hey, my bad, I'm sorry. I'm sure you've crossed a guy up somewhere along the way. And your first reaction isn't to turn your back on the guy and walk off the back of the mound. It's usually, hey, are you okay? That's what generally what most pitchers do is, hey, are you okay? Not turn your back and walk away.
Yeah, that's a rough one, especially being a catcher. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on. It's a hard-ass position.
And when I was on the Rays with you and Snell, talk about your blocking practice. You two would just throw some absolute yard darts up there and just like look around like, probably going to do it again.
Yeah, for sure. I'm good for like 5 a game. Absolutely. Like if I'm trying to tunnel a low heater with a curveball, it's like that's going to be in front of the, like on the dirt type of bounce situation, like on the plate. So it's not going to, it's tough. I can only imagine trying to catch me, and like I'm not exactly Greg Maddux out there. So it's hard enough, and then having to worry about if I'm going to like intentionally throw a ball at you. That might be kind of tough to handle.
Kyle Snyder made it easy. Kyle Snyder was just like, oh, you don't even need to get on the edges. You just stay right down the middle. I was like, Snipes. I was like, it definitely worked, but you're getting 48-foot curveballs from Snell as he's calling like different pitches on different locations and times, and you're getting a ball in the neck. And then they're bringing in young Jose Alvarado, Diego Castillo out of the bullpen, and then Drake throwing that like whatever that lefty right-handed changeup ball. So there were some dudes slinging some rocks up there for sure.
Yeah, that was a wild year. That was one of the craziest bullpens I've ever seen.
And
Chaz was on that team too, right? Chaz, the Slider King, was on that team, right?
Oh
Rowe?
yeah,
Chaz
Rowe.
Chaz Rowe. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we had some crazy arm angles on that year. It was nuts.
Yes,
young Jose Alvarado. That was scary even to watch as a fan.
Oh,
like,
that was the most miserable 4 pitches I ever caught, because it was 4 fastballs and they all went different directions. Thank goodness it was ball 4 and Kevin Cash came walking out.
Good stuff. Well, Tyler, good to see you, man. Good to catch up. Keep doing your thing. We'll catch you soon, okay?
All right. Thanks, guys. Good talking to you.
Thank you. Yeah, you too. Tyler Glasnow from the Dodgers. Be right back. We spend a lot of time on the road. We are often concerned about our online security when you're logging in from all over the globe, really. So you should maybe look into a VPN. What does that stand for, Kratz?
Virtual private network.
Boom, nailed it. And that virtual private network that you should look into is called Surfshark. It is time to take control of your online security and try Surfshark today. You can enjoy their 30-day money-back guarantee and secure your digital world right now by visiting the link that we'll post there for you and start surfing securely. Surfshark.com/foul or the code foul at checkout will get you 4 extra months of Surfshark VPN, aka Virtual Private Network. It's a risk-free 30-day money-back guarantee. Surfshark's unique VPN benefits include use on unlimited devices in 100 countries and 24/7 support at surfshark.com/FOUL. This has been your tech update. Keep your data safe. Kratz, why don't you read that for us?
And the San Francisco Giants, who waved the white flag at the trade deadline, win for the 13th time in the last 16 games and beat the Arizona Diamondbacks 5-3, moving to within 2 games of the Mets. And the Mets hold the tiebreaker. That's why 3 games is so hard to overcome, Bob Nightingale.
I like the little touch you added, the commentary.
Oh.
So it's really 3 games. Because if they're tied, we don't do game 163 anymore, folks. So
Boring.
the Giants have 2 weeks and change to catch the Mets. Not impossible.
It's not happening.
Not happening.
It's not happening.
It's crazy. It looks so small on a standings board. It's like 2 games.
It's 3.
Are the Mets catching the Padres?
Yeah. Probably not.
Well, then the answer has to be the same for the Giants, no?
It does. I said probably not.
No, well, I mean, I'm just saying. That's your answer.
It's a cute run by the Giants here down the stretch.
Mm-hmm.
They'd have to go 16 for 19, and the Mets would have to lose 3 straight games for them to overtake them right now.
Wait, they'd have to win 16 of their last 19, is what you're saying?
No. No, they've already won 13 of their last 16. So for them to catch them, that's how difficult it is. It's really difficult to do.
Mm-hmm. Better than box scores, Connelly Early made his debut for the Red Sox last night in Sacramento, and it went really, really well. The A's are a decent lineup, AJ. It's not like
They strike out a lot, though.
they do strike out a lot, and we saw that last night. 11 strikeouts, 5 innings, 5 hits, no runs, 1 walk. I mean, that's about as good as it gets for a major leaguer debuting in a minor league park.
It was a good debut. Yeah, he did nice. He pitched nice. The Red Sox have shut out the A's two games in a row with 2 rookie pitchers. So, Crochet and then Early. So 2 lefties. They've shut them out 2 days in a row. The Red Sox are in a good spot right now. They can do it. They win tonight. They're gonna start putting some pressure on those teams in the East.
Mm-hmm. Good option to have here. Kratz, he's earned himself another start.
For sure. I mean, Dustin May's not coming back, so you earn another start. You get to do it, hopefully, back in a big league stadium next time. But, man, this is shaping up to be, I forget who was talking about it, but how much better lefties have had success this year, even like the platoon splits. So maybe the team that wins this year in the playoffs has the most lefties, because guys in the big leagues right now are not hitting lefties as well as they have other times, even right-handers. So this is impressive. This was an impressive start. His last start in AAA, right before he got called up, he punched out 10 guys. And now he's like, the big leagues is easier.
This is random, Kratz, but were you listening to the Tigers broadcast last night? That was a big topic last night.
What was?
The lefty issue in baseball this year.
I didn't see that game.
Oh, okay. They were talking about it on the Tigers broadcast. But anyway, for the Red Sox, it was a few days ago. Okay. Well, it's spreading. It's become fodder on local team broadcasts. For the Red Sox, you've got Crochet. You feel great about him, right?
Mm-hmm.
You've got Giolito or Bayo in a game 2. And then you're trying out game 4.
Yeah.
After those 3. If you're in a long series.
Rookies are lined up, especially if Dustin May's out for an extended period.
Yep. Let me see.
Which rookie will step up?
Opener. Red Sox bullpen's too good for Alex Cora to say, I'm going to not lose any innings if I can get through an entire game with my bullpen.
No Tolley or Early?
I'm not saying that's my opinion. I'm saying the Red Sox pitching development program is very, very persuasive in their decisions of who pitches and who doesn't. So just saying that I have a hard – it depends. If they're up 3-0 in a 7-game series, yeah, obviously you're going to say, hey, we're going to need one of these starters to get some innings. If they're down, I have a hard time believing that they're going to say, yeah, we'll go ahead and throw a lefty out there that has, at that point, probably 4 starts in the big leagues. I mean, these guys could probably amass 4 starts total.
Yesterday, Jared Carabas, our buddy who covers the Red Sox, said a quote tweet on us talking about the call-up of Connelly Early and Dustin May being IL'd. He goes, I love that the Red Sox are just putting all their bad players on the 15-day suck list. We don't have time for that BS in September. Phantom IL?
That's not really fair. It's not really a very fair statement.
It's a little punchy.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. If you want to be an esteemed journalist, I don't know that I would throw that out there.
I don't know if he would call himself that. Podcaster, badass, influencer.
Fan. How about fan?
Fan. Super fan. For sure. Yes. Super fan mode for sure. All right, let's step aside. We got a cool segment coming up next. Legendary author Jane Leavy is joining us, and she just came out with a book called Make Me Commissioner. I know what's wrong with baseball and how to fix it. FT fam, let's talk about Fair Harbor. And if you're listening, I hope that you watch this conversation at some point because we're doing show and tell, Kratz. Shorts, they can be used as a bathing suit. And the liner, which we call butter, is the game breaker. It's the playmaker because it's different.
You've worn shorts that are not like this, and the liner sucks. They are buttery on your butt.
I just came up with something for them. Your liner sucks. Get Fair Harbor liner. Seriously, give it a shot. I'm not just saying this. The butter analogy plays. And FT fam, you know we're hooking you up. fairharborclothing.com/foul. 20% off when you use the code foul on your first purchase. Once again, that's fairharborclothing.com/FOUL for 20% off your first purchase and use promo code FOUL. Hey, somebody's stuff was ticking up in the minor leagues last night named Roki Sasaki. Remember him?
Mm-hmm.
Roki Mania in the offseason, and then he goes down. We haven't seen him for most of the year, but there was a pretty big tick up in velocity for him at AAA Oklahoma City. 8 punch-outs in 4 2/3. And Dave Roberts is like, yeah, we're going to have to figure this out pretty quickly. Obviously, they're going to have to make a decision on if they want him to appear at all on the big league club. But, man, the Statcast page looks quite nice. 4-seam, splitter, slider, up significantly.
Show me
A lot more than velo. A lot more than velo. He didn't land any of his splits in the strike zone, and yet 6 of the 8 that he threw were swung at. He wasn't good when his velo was down, and so now his velo's up. Does he even have enough time, though, to make an impact in the postseason?
4 walks, not good.
He won't pitch in the postseason.
No?
I don't think so. Unless something happens, he won't pitch in the postseason.
Someone would have to get hurt.
Because they could use some
Kind
pen
of a
help.
loss.
Yeah. Would you pitch him in the pen? No.
Too many walks.
Okay. They work on things. That's crazy, right?
Send him to the Arizona Fall League.
Good idea.
Good luck.
Legendary author Jane Leavy is here. She has written biographies on Babe Ruth, Sandy Koufax, Mickey Mantle, and this next one that just came out is called Make Me Commissioner. I know what's wrong with baseball and how to fix it. Jane, great to have you on. I love the book cover there. What do you got?
How are you?
I'm good. How are you? You got a prop for us? A little show and tell?
I do. I do have a little prop for you. Let's see. You see it?
Ooh, I like that.
But they put it on the wrong part of the ball. What a it's like,
well, you want to change the game, Jane. So
yeah, that's true.
You want to change the game. So
absolutely right. You're absolutely right. We'll
as
start
commissioner,
Yep.
You got the baseball like that, right? It's in a new spot. And then what's your first move as commissioner?
All kids 10 and under get in free.
Woo!
I got no problem with that.
Thank
It's a good
you.
one. It's a good one. Why not?
Why not?
Why not?
I mean,
Because
it-
you get
I
you
had
get
a-
them to stick around for life.
Exactly. And if grandpa or your grandma or mom or dad or whoever brings you, they're going to buy you a Coke and they're going to buy you a hot dog and a cotton candy and a cap at a minimum. So I had an economist run these numbers using the Cubs numbers from 2023. If they did that for kids 5 through 12, even more kids than I was figuring, it would have cost the Cubs all of $4 million that year. And as you well know, they also paid Jason Hayward $21 million that year to play for the Dodgers. So I think they can manage this.
Why don't they do it? Why don't they do it?
Everything has been monetized in baseball, absolutely everything. And I think that alienates a lot of fans. I mean, besides which, a lot of people cannot pay $18 for a beer, right? It gets to the point. How do you start to think out of the box when you've thought in the box for so long? This guy, the same economist, told me that there's something called path dependence, which is an idea in economics, which means once you start down a path, you just keep doing it, even when you know it's wrong, because you're scared to change. Like when GM and all the car manufacturers in the 70s, when the Japanese started making small cars with great mileage, what did the US manufacturers do? They kept doing what they were doing. And baseball has just kept doing what it was doing until it instituted the new rules in 2023, which took forever for them to do because people were so traumatized by the DH.
I have a follow to this. So on the money side, I'm with you, but I could see baseball's answer as, well, NFL doesn't like kids in free. NBA doesn't like kids in free. NHL doesn't like kids in free for the year. So why would we do that? Why do we have to do that? So what do you think the answer back to that would be? And do you think that baseball still believes that it is the top dog in terms of sports out there and that they should be either leading the pack or at least doing what other leagues are doing, like the NFL?
Have you looked at the upper decks in most regular season games lately? They're empty. Vast swaths of empty seats. You tell me that it's better to leave them empty and pan them and say, oh, nobody's going to the game, than to fill them up with kids, right? I fundamentally believe that baseball has a problem of too much inventory and too many games. Now, they're not going to change the number of games unless they do the Rob Manfred's reconfiguration, which might force them to come back down, and if they add more franchises still. But in the meantime, they have the seats empty. I asked Mike Rizzo about this before the Nationals decided to let go of him, and he said, fill it up. Fill it up. And then he paused and he said, of course, it doesn't include parking and alcohol, right? So I said, no parking and alcohol.
But what's going to change it? How is it going to change? Is it your book? Is it the fact that every owner, you put them in a lineup and they all look the same, so they all think the same and they're all the same, just like blah, 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 blah. They're taking away minor league baseball. So small town America doesn't even know what baseball looks like now unless you buy cable for your regional sports network that's blacked out. What is going to be what's going to be the biggest change that will make an overarching change to make baseball America's pastime again?
Me.
Okay, besides your book.
I want a groundswell. Honestly, I think, they've bragged in the last 2 years about increase in seats sold and in a decrease in the age of them. They've made some inroads. I don't think it's realistic to think baseball is going to be the national pastime again, the way it was. Nobody can have exclusive domain in a media world where seasons of overlap and broadcasts overlap. I mean, the NBA goes till June, right? So, and if NFL, exhibition games start in August. Baseball used to have the season to themselves, and it's not going to happen again. So get used to that. Don't expect it again, and start trying to do other things. Jim Cott, who I'm sure you guys know, he actually advocates shortening the season to Memorial Day to Labor Day, really reducing the number of games, giving baseball purchase on a segment of time when they really could dominate. I'm not ready to go there with that yet. He's also, up for seven inning games, which I'm not up for either. But the numbers of fans have increased in when the rules came in 2023, they got a bump of 10% higher. Last year, it was 1% higher. That's a nice number. But you know what it costs to have a kid play baseball these days? It's more expensive to play baseball than it is to participate in any other sport now. So they need to start making baseball accessible. I think cutting the minor leagues, I agree with you completely, was a disaster. How are small market teams supposed to compete? When you cut yourself off from grassroots talent and grassroots fans, you're basically saying you're not important to me. And they need to make fans feel important again.
Jane, you mentioned the access and all that, but isn't this been a Major League Baseball problem forever? Like, they don't give access to their players. I know when I go do a game, I'm going to do a game tomorrow. I walk in the locker room, there's not one player in there. They know the exact time the media is in there, and they all run and hide. So you can't talk to the players. It's hard to find coaches. I'm lucky because I work at Fox. We get 15 minutes with the manager. But even when I walk on the field to try to grab some guys, not everybody takes BP, and so you don't get to talk to people, and then the fans don't get to hear from the stars, and they don't get to hear, forget the stars, from the 26th guy that's on the roster who, might be the favorite of some kid who saw him come to the one game and get a hit. How does Major League Baseball change this? I'm a big proponent, and listen, as a player, the media was the media. I knew they had a job to do. I would take my questions and move on, but is there a way? I know it has to be collectively bargained, but for 5 minutes, 3 to 3:05, everybody has to be in their locker for 5 minutes, guys, because They always schedule their meetings. If you look now, the meetings are always scheduled right when the media is in the room. How do we change this?
I think you're right. I think it has to be in the next CBA, which, as we all know, because Rob Manfred went to spring training and announced there's going to be a lockout on December 2nd, 2026. It has to be negotiated. Players need to understand that the estrangement between the players and their fans is a profound issue. You want to know why those stands are empty? That's why the stands are empty, because nobody feels a connection. And partly that's also because analytics have conspired against the great individual feats that used to be a reason to come to the ballpark. I talked to Dave Roberts just this weekend about the Clayton Kershaw perfect game. When they take Clayton Kershaw out after 7 perfect innings, the guy's the best left-handed pitcher of his generation who's done everything else. But, the rule is he's got to come out, right? So he comes out. I understand why Davey did what he did. But what if the headline the next day was not Clayton Kershaw removed from a perfect game, but instead this guy who hadn't pitched since maybe October 1st, he couldn't pitch in the playoffs in 2021, comes out and throws a perfect game. That's a reason to go to the ballpark. And if analytics keeps subverting the accomplishments that individuals can make, it gives you no reason to come. Do I want to go see a parade of relief pitchers I've never heard of who will be gone in a week anyway because they'll tear their UCL and somebody else will come and take their place? No, I really don't want to see that. And 5.2 innings per start is just not a lot of fun to watch anyway.
What's the coolest idea anybody gave you in writing this book? Which, by the way, we have the same literary agent.
I know we do.
And
good
your
taste.
Book, Mr. Black.
Mr. David Black. He's a terror, isn't he?
He is delicious.
The craziest idea. Johnny Gomes said, buy Little League. Major League Baseball should buy Little League. which maybe isn't as crazy as it sounds. The fundamentals, dare I say it, are lacking today. What if you could get former players to come out and teach clinics at Little League, or manage clinics, or run the league, for God's sake, and actually show kids why and how it can be fun. Major League Baseball, compared to football, has done a lousy job of scaling the game down to a little kid's size. In the football, they have little tiny little fields and tiny little footballs to play with. They haven't made it user friendly for 6-year-olds. Yeah, there's T-ball, but even they know that's not real. So they have to find a way to show the joy. And if players don't want to share that, then it's not going to get better. I totally agree. But my
What
idea,
about
my crazy
yeah?
idea,
What do you got?
increase the pitching staff to 15, have a healthy scratch list like in the NHL. You put your starter from yesterday, who's not going to pitch the next day, on this healthy scratch list, and your two most beat up, overused relievers, give them a blow, as they like to say in the sports section, and bring two other guys. Make it fluid so that you have a sort of a rolling pitching staff. But you have 15 altogether. The money you're going to save on Tommy John surgeries will pay their salaries, but you only have 11 to use in each game. And that will force managers to start to use pitchers and develop pitchers who go, if not the distance, at least more than a token distance.
Well, wouldn't they have more optionality if they had that to bullpen game it, or no?
I guess they can
No.
do that, yeah.
No,
No?
they won't. No, because you start the game, each game you designate which 11 pitchers are available that day. Manager gets to decide that, or the general manager, whoever's pulling the strings, but you get to rest some guys. You get to give them a blow. As you guys know, going max heave to get ready to pitch and then not get called in is also, that those pitches count. Don't you call them dry humps? I think
Yes.
something like that.
Yes.
Yes, yeah, right. Steve Howe gave way back in the day gave Buck Showalter hell for that. So in Jane's MLB, you don't pitch 2 days in a row, and you don't warm up in the bullpen like that 2 days in a row. You can't root for guys who aren't there. And every time you lose another important starting pitcher around whom a team is supposedly built, there's less reason to root. Why do you want to go see, I don't know, who's the worst spot starter I've seen this year? I can't think of who that might be because there have been so many of them. But give guys a chance to heal. Give them a chance to be actual pitchers whose ligaments don't tear like cheap Christmas wrapping paper, which is what's happening. There's been 60 more guys added to the list of Tommy John recoverers this season, and 10 more who've had internal braces. And I think there were 2 more just last night. I mean, you've got a plague here, and it's attacking the essence. It's not just attacking the health of a particular guy and a particular arm. It's attacking the health of the game, because it's removing a reason to root, a reason to go out to the ballpark. When's the last time you went out to see a matchup?
Yeah.
Maybe Kershaw and Bumgarner. I mean, 11 times between 2000 and 2013, I think. That was a reason to go to the ballpark.
There's been a few good matchups, but in general, there's not a lot of, and this would definitely help with health because guys wouldn't be as taxed. But I'm going to disagree with you, because if you want to see this kind of baseball, go down to the DR, because it's exactly how they do their innings and how they build their rosters. And I've seen triple barrels down in the DR where they have 2 lefties warming up and a righty getting hot too. So because they're going to throw, and then the next day they're not on the active roster, they don't have to travel to Licey, they don't have to travel to Escogido. So it's it's one of those things that anytime you give teams more pitchers, they're going to burn them out even more. So I think the health would help, but we can't give them more pitchers. Sorry, Jane. I don't agree with you on that one.
Then how do you protect the arms? What would you do? If you can't use more than 11 in a game, you're going to have to use them in a very different way that resembles how you staffed a game years ago.
Okay.
You're going to make a starting pitcher who can go a distance. I was fascinated because I'm talking to Davey Roberts about Kershaw and Rich Hill and the games he pulled him out of, the perfect games he pulled him out of. And then it was the next night that he let Yamamoto go all the way through the ninth. And of course, it ended badly for the Dodgers and Yamamoto. But that game was great for baseball. I mean, that was fabulous for baseball. And Davey said the next day, I wanted it for him. I wanted it bad. And we need more of that.
Yeah, we got to follow storylines. I'm with you. All right, so one more from the book, and then for the rest, we're not giving it away. You got to go grab a copy. I'm all in on this. We talk about league issues all the time, and don't hold back. One of the few independent platforms out there show-wise that can do this. But my question for you is, you got to spend some time with Morgan Sword, right, who works at the league office. You had some combos with him. So what was that like? And the reason I ask about him specifically is that you hear through the grapevine that he might be the next commissioner of baseball. So what are we getting ourselves into? You know, I've spent a little bit of time with him as well. I know he's super into numbers and analytics, but what was your experience like?
I think I saw some of his heart and some of his, the humanist in him. And that really was maybe the most hopeful thing I saw. Because if I'm not commissioner, I think maybe he should be. He talked about living in an age where the idea that you can know everything has become a kind of mania. Why do we need to know everything? Why do we have to presume that we can figure out to 99.9% who's the best person to send up to bat? I think that's a fallacy. I think that kind of control, particularly in baseball, where so many things are at play in any given moment, is a bad way to go. Analytics can tell you what's going to happen 9 times out of 10, or what has happened 9 times out of 10. It cannot tell you what will happen in that 10th moment, whether there'll be midges on the mound in Cleveland, or sunlight in Willie Davis's eyes at Chavez Ravine, or Rajay Davis, who hit all of 12 home runs in 2016, is going to come hit a home run in Cleveland and tie Game 7 of the World Series. That's what makes baseball great. And that's what makes it, you can't completely game it. Joe Torre said, they're trying to make an imperfect game perfect, and I resent it. Well, I agree. I resent it too. And I also think it's a false god. I don't think it makes for interest, and I don't think it's doable.
I'm with you. Well, I'm excited to get more in Make Me Commissioner. I know what's wrong with baseball and how to fix it. Out now, the great Jane Leavy joining us. Thank you for the time. This was great.
Bad hair day. I'm really sorry.
I disagree.
Well, thank you.
I disagree.
Well, thank you very much.
Well, we'll get our expert, Erik Kratz.
Oh, Kratz. Yeah, you look good.
Thank
You
you.
know, there's some men who really can do the bald thing with the beard. Other guys, they just look old. So you look fabulous. You look fabulous.
You make me blush, Jane. Thank you.
I'm trying.
Well, Jane, you nailed it. Thank you so much for joining us. It was great to talk to you.
Thank you so much for having me. Talk to you again.
Yes. Check out the book. Just Google it. You can find it, especially Amazon and anywhere else you get books. Time for your weekly Arena Club segment where we see what AJ pulls from a slab pack. And here we go. Pulling a little Emerald pack this week, AJ. Looking for something big.
Always. I'm always looking for the big thing. Next big thing, Scott.
Big money, baby.
Yep. No whammies.
We've got a Dave Winfield card from 1974, a 74 Topps card from this Emerald pack. Estimated value $300.
Mm-hmm.
You could sell it back for $270.
Sold.
I feel like you're into more of the current players. Would that be accurate?
No,
You like Legends?
In my showroom, I have a Robin Yount. I have a Griffey rookie card,
Oh,
I think.
that's true.
So, I have some older vintager players. Bob Gibson.
Oh, yeah, you have Gibson.
So, I disagree, Scott. But Dave Winfield, for that amount of money back, I'm reselling it.
And if you want to get your own pack or new card, you can get 20% off your first slab pack or card purchase at arenaclub.com/foul. Hey, we're back. Kyle Tucker is not. Left calf strain, retroactive to September 6th. They were doing a little day-to-day thing. Moises Ballesteros gets called up to try and provide a little offense, but this isn't great timing.
Not for his free agency and not for the Cubs, but the Cubs are going to make the playoffs. They just need him healthy for October. They're not worried about these next 15 games. They want him to get back in a week or so, get some at-bats, and be ready for the postseason because they need him.
Calves are tricky.
I agree, but they need him back, and they're going to try and get him back for the postseason because regular season at this point, Brewers are winning the division. The Cubs are going to make the wild card.
Yep, completely agree. But I also agree that the Cubs need some offense. So, Moises, you better bring your hitting stick because the boys need somebody to drive some runs in. Did a good job last night. They won 6-1.
Yeah, and there's more to learn about the Cubs with Sahadev Sharma. He was on the show yesterday. We got into almost like a player-by-player situation with what's gone on with the offense because it's a pretty big storyline how much of a swing it's been. The one for me still, when I was looking back at comments from that video yesterday, it was Seiya Suzuki. He was so good in the first half. And it just, as soon as he came back in the second half, it just disappeared. Power zapped.
He wanted to be an all-star. They said, "You're not an all-star." And he said, "Then I'm not going to drive any more runs in."
Yeah, he was that affected by it.
That wasn't a direct quote.
That's what he said time. Let's talk about the Tigers and the Yankees. First off, Tigers take the first in the series, and the Yankees bullpen unraveled. So it was a blowout, 12-2 in this one. Mark Leiter Jr. had trouble. And who else had trouble? Who was the other reliever?
Cruz.
Fernando Cruz. He did not know where it was going. He did not know where it was going. Just didn't have the feel. Is that a splitter thing?
Yeah,
where you don't have
it's like a forkball.
Feel pitch? Yeah. I'm saying like that's a splitter thing though. It's like I don't have the feel, so I'm going to have no idea where. I mean, he throws it, what, 3/4 of the time?
Yeah, he just didn't have it.
Yeah.
I mean, that inning was a great job by the Tigers. They just stood there. After the leadoff double, they just stood there and just let him walk him and wild pitch him to death. I think someone hit the little blue.
Parker Meadows. Parker Meadows got a hanging splitter and hit it into right. Everyone else just let it happen. And the most awkward part was Meredith Barakovich had talked to Fernando Cruz before the game on the field, and they had this whole he was going to talk about how this pitch was his gift from God, which I think was technically a quote that he took from Mariano Rivera. But he was like, this pitch, he said, I don't even really know where I got it from. And as she was talking about it, it was just like ball 3, ball 4, wild pitch, ball 3. And it was like, cut it, not the time. He's had a great year. Last night, he just imploded.
That's what he said. I do also want to get to quotes from Aaron Boone because the questions are coming in hot right now. Joel Sherman does a nice job covering the team for a long time. National baseball reporter for the New York Post. He's been on our show, and he flat out said Caballero should be the shortstop in the playoffs. Boone is doing the best he can to answer things right now, or I think he is, but Yankee fans don't. He said Anthony, I view as our shortstop. Caballero is a really good player. I'm aware of that, and I feel a lot of confidence anytime I put him in there. Obviously, he's gotten some more opportunities here of late where I've sat Anthony. We're at a time of the year where we're playing for a lot right now. I look at it as all hands on deck every day. Volpe had a tough game. I mean, he had first and second, no outs. He was bunting, popped it up to the pitcher. He hasn't hit again lately. This is the storyline that Yankee fans are obsessed with right now. Should they be? Are the Yanks giving him too much credit?
661 OPS says no. 206 batting average, 661. Didn't he lead the league in errors? So
yeah.
Yankee fans are real fans, and they see it. And it sucks for Anthony Volpe, but if you don't perform, especially in New York, they're going to get on you. And, I mean, those numbers don't add up to being very good. Sorry.
If you were running the team, AJ, would you just have him be the backup?
I'd definitely try to give him a break. I'd let Caballero come in and get a day or two at least. I don't know. It's too late now. They can't send him down. So, I mean, what can they do? They're kind of stuck. And it sucks for Volpe. He seems like a nice fella, but they're in a bad spot right now because they can't get rid of him. They can't find anyone else. And this is the guy they've been counting on for years, Yankee fans and the Yankees organization, to be their shortstop for a long time. And he's actually gotten kind of worse every year.
Yeah. And it's not like Caballero has had superstar numbers this year, but he'll get on base more than Volpe will and run around. Less pop than Volpe, but not that much less, honestly, this year. What do you think, Kratz? At this point, what do you do? I know we've talked about it every once in a while, but it's late. It's September 10th. Are you going to try and hope that you catch lightning in a bottle? Because he is streaky. It's just that the streaks on the downside have gotten really, really long, right? He's off to a nice start, first 10 days or something like that, and falls off for a while. There's been like a few little power stretches, but besides that, he just gets really off kilter, and the confidence doesn't look like it's there.
That would be, I mean, the last thing you said about the confidence is definitely something that this is what the jungle, this is what the Bronx does to you. And I think it was blown out of proportion early, but I think now the defensive part of it is where I would lean towards sitting him. Because if he hits, let's see, his numbers are 206, 268, 393 for an OPS plus of 82. At the shortstop position, that is okay if you're playing Gold Glove defense. But because the defense is going the way it is this year, I don't think this is a normal thing. But if you watch games, there's a lot of hesitation when he fields the ball. There's a lot of, double pumping, double clutch. Feet are still moving, off-bounce throws where it could have set his feet. I think that's where I would look to sit him. Send him to AAA at this point in the season? No. Even if you had sent him down for what are you going to send him down for? 10 days? You can't mimic the nerves and the pressure in Scranton like you can in the big leagues. And maybe some of it, maybe he's not comfortable, where they're having him play. Maybe his range is affected by that, something. But you're talking about a Gold Glove defender who's now, I think Elly has more errors than him, but I think he has the most errors in the American League right now.
They should have sent him down earlier this year.
Oh, this is what
and
he
done
is.
what? But and done what?
This is what he is.
Let him regain his confidence.
This is what he is. Though.
How?
This is what he is.
So what is he? How do you describe him?
What he is. Here's my question for the Yankees. And I know they're analytic driven and they want everyone to hit 30 homers, but 167 strikeouts, 23, 156 last year. He's at 140 this year. Maybe we could try to tell him to hit 30 homers and we try to hit line drives and get on base and steal. Everyone wants to make everybody the same player. Maybe we don't make him that player because he's not that guy. I mean, listen, I could have struck out 200 times too if I was trying to hit 20 homers, hit a home run every single time and hit the ball in the air. His game is supposed to be fast and play. I guarantee you, his defense would improve if he got more hits. I'm sorry, but it would. But if he's not getting hits and every time he goes up there like, we need exit velocity in the air and he's hitting his best ball or he's striking out and they're catching it, it lowers your confidence. I'm sorry. Try something different. Not every player is Aaron Judge.
AJ said it. He is who he is. His career OPS is 661. This year, his OPS is 661 right now. That's okay. That's okay if that's all you're going to get out of a Gold Glove defender. But when his defense goes down, try what AJ said. Like, man, you feel so good about yourself. You even think my shirt looks good when you are 2 for 4. Like, everything looks good. Like, when you're 0 for 4, you're like, ooh, I got to figure it out on defense because I got to hold my spot here. And he's still young. I mean, he's 24 in the big leagues. Like, it's okay. He can try to make a change. He doesn't have to hit 20 homers a year. But you know what's going to happen if he actually goes to more of like a line drive approach, put the ball in play type of approach? I bet he hits more homers because he's making more contact with the ball. It's not like he's an on-base god. Like, 268 on-base percentage this year. Career 282 on-base percentage. Like, that's like my realm of on-base percentage. Like, you're going to make contact with a lot of balls. Don't hit weak fly balls in the air.
It's a good point. And hey, a lot's going right for this team, for the Yanks. They're one of the better teams in the American League. They lost yesterday, but Cody Bellinger had a big homer early off of Casey Mize. And the left-on-left thing you're talking about, or just hitting lefties in general, obviously it's nice to have a Cody Bellinger lefty bat who's just annihilating left-handed pitching all year. But bringing up the downside here, this is what fans are expecting. They're expecting better from that position. They've got a guy who can replace him, and we'll see what they go with in the playoffs. It's a little bit more time, I guess, for auditioning, and they're hoping that he catches lightning in a bottle. Hey, Philly fans were like, Aaron Nola, see you next year. And then they're like, just kidding. We loved that last outing. Just kidding. I know it's different. I'm just saying things can change. But do I see it? No, I don't think it's going to change. But maybe they do. All right, coming up next, actually, on the topic of stats, we're excited to talk to Brooke Lazinsky, who is Brooke Knows Ball on Instagram. And she's got a few new stats that I think you guys are going to like. That's coming up. All right, FT fam, the Playmakers Classic is coming back. Now it's the 4th annual Playmakers Classic of February 18th in downtown Phoenix. You can get your tickets at playerstrust.org, and we've all attended in the past. This one's in downtown Phoenix, out in Arizona. It's during spring training. That's where you get a lot of the players involved, and it's for a great cause. I mean, this is something that we're obviously a big fan of because we bring hundreds of players on our show, and we want to show that we're supporting their, charitable endeavors off the field too.
Why can't they have one in Florida also? Why does it got to always be in Phoenix? So that's my question.
Should we make a call?
And you would think, when you want to get the players from Florida, there's 15 teams in Florida too. We're wiping out half the league here. We should have Florida too.
Can you bring all of the Florida spring training sites a little bit?
Oh, you could have it in the Tampa area, and there's a bunch of teams there. That'll get a bunch of people. I mean, you got the Yankees, the Orioles, the Blue Jays, the Phillies, and there's a bunch of teams that are pretty close. You get the Tigers. I mean, there's a bunch of teams pretty close.
Yep. But
so many players show up to it.
Yeah.
So many players show up to it. It's pretty freaking awesome.
That's what I'm saying. You can get guys in Florida to go.
Yeah, over 400 people attended last year, including 100 current big leaguers, former pros, and prospects.
And you get up close and personal with them. So it's cool. Super cool.
Yeah. And, they're, as you can see, putting all of this together towards a good cause, celebrating 30 years of player-powered impact. So go check it out. We'll talk more about it as we move along here in the offseason, but just wanted to shout it out because it's official. It's happening. Live performances, interactive games, big prizes, good food, good drinks, the whole deal. Check it out. All right, we got a quick minute here. I just wanted to point out in the AL Wildcard race, Mariners won. Rangers won. Against the Brewers, too. They've beaten them in back-to-back days. Guardians win. Stays tight.
It is tight. The Royals not winning.
No, are they done?
They got 2 more games to kind of prove it mode against the Guardians. They got to win the next 2 games.
Right.
They essentially got shut out the last 2 games by 2 pitchers.
For the Rangers, Michael Hellman is him. Hey, here we go. Brooke Lazinsky joining us right now on FT, making her debut here. You can follow her at Brooke Knows Ball. And nice and simple here. How do we know Brooke? Well, we see her video explainers on Instagram about some stats that we're going to get into. So first off, Brooke, great to have you on. And thanks for putting together some cool content. How you doing?
I'm doing great. You guys just saw me jamming out to that little segue music in between. Thanks for having me on. I'm super excited, though.
Of course. That's what we do at the beginning of every show. All right, so let's get into some stats because I want to enlighten Kratz and AJ. So can we start with your video on V-Slug, what that is, and to help explain to them why it is a better determining factor of who's actually making an impact in games?
Yeah, absolutely. So V-Slug was created essentially as a way to segue ourselves into VOPS. Right now, OPS, it mixes on-base ability and slugging, but VOPS says, sure, that's fine, but who's actually hitting the ball and producing runs? So it uses V-Slug, volume slugging, to reward players who consistently hit rather than just walk. So the actual stat itself is, for volume slugging, is slugging times hits divided by games. And the point was just basically to suggest that Juan Soto, for instance, should be more aggressive at the plate. And honestly, wild enough, since V-Slug video came out, I think we've seen the best version of him. But, causation doesn't necessarily mean correlation right there. So
don't sell yourself short. Juan Soto might be watching your video. Juan Soto
hey,
might be watching.
Hey, Juan, how you doing?
Okay, so but who in that list when they come up with that stat? What would surprise you? Because that's something that we have talked about all the time. I'm sure Joey Votto would be on the same list. Like sometimes you have to go outside of your zone, which is the best zone discipline of anybody in the big leagues, and get that RBI. But who is somebody that surprises you that, whoa, yeah, there's some value in that?
Yeah, I really have an affinity towards Bo Bichette. I think that he's really aggressive with his approach. And that's kind of why this stat, I'm not going to say it was made for him specifically, but it's made to promote players like him that are more aggressive at the plate. And we take their volume into account in addition to their slugging percentage.
Hey, Brooke, I remember in the video you talked about someone in the 90s who would have really enjoyed this stat. I think I've got it. Do you want to say the name? I think AJ might like the name.
Yeah, of course. That would be Jeff Bagwell. Ring any bells?
Yeah.
Carlos
nice.
Delgado, perhaps.
Who should be in the Hall of Fame also.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. So essentially with like the stat like V-Slug, to give you a little bit more context into it. So with OPS, we're seeing it treating walks and hits almost equally nowadays. And it's great for showing overall offensive efficiency. I'm not going to discount that whatsoever. But I think what can happen is it can overrate passive hitters who draw a lot of walks. So with VOPS, it's, as I mentioned, that's built on V-Slug, this stat in that video, and it's measuring how slugging volume a player can actually produce per game. So we're putting more weights on hits, which I think is the hardest thing to do in baseball. We're separating players who look similar in OPS by showing who's a real run producer.
Brooke, I think I also remember Albert Bell got some love.
Yeah.
Was it in that
absolutely.
video? Yeah. In the 90s, Albert Bell was mentioned too, right? As somebody that would do damage, but then also would make sure that he's not wasting away pitches that are close enough in a situation where he was relied on to drive in a run. So does Albert Bell play into this as well?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. And I think what I always appreciated about Albert Bell is that he's a bat to ball hitter. He was an extra bit monster and like the kind that you want batting third to drive runners in.
Okay, so I want to take us to the next stat here. Impact slugging percentage. What do you have for us on that one?
Yeah. So impact slugging percentage, I would say, is like your modern RBI stat. It basically says not all total bases are created equal. And the problem with standard slugging that we're seeing is that traditional slugging percentage only counts the batter's own bases. So like a solo home run is weighted equally as a grand slam, but you and I both know, of course, that that's not the same. A solo home run, you have 4 total bases, whereas a grand slam is only accounted for 4 total bases, even though you're really driving in 10. So it's ignoring the actual impact of the swing on the game. And what impact slugging does differently is that it counts not only the batter's total bases, but also the advancement of runners already on base. I could go into examples and everything, but just to kind of give you an overview of what that is trying to convey.
Brooke, then you want a bunch of fast guys hitting in front of you is what it seems like. Because then if you hit a single and they go first to third, it adds, you get a bunch of slow guys in front of you and they don't score on that double. You're like, dude, you're costing me in my new stats.
Exactly.
Right?
And like what oh, sorry.
No, I was going to say, this seems like a way to measure clutch, and people say you can't measure clutch, but this seems like a good stat to not necessarily measure it, but at least it goes in the right track.
Yes. And for instance, like we see Ohtani a lot in the leadoff position, but this stat basically says he might be better in your 3-hole position because you have a 30% chance of him having a runner on base. And so those home runs that we all know that he's so great at, it has more value if he's in 3-hole as opposed to the leadoff.
How much do you think numbers like this could help a player in free agency? Because a lot of what numbers are, especially in arbitration, AJ went through arbitration, they sit there and they go, well, actually, you weren't very good at this. And you could say, well, actually, these numbers, it may not help in arbitration because that's normally just home run RBI and games played. But how much more is this going to get into our vernacular? Because now on scoreboards, we only see the OPS at some stadiums. It used to always just be batting average.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it could definitely help players like Bo, as I mentioned. And it also takes us back to an older approach, like players from the 90s. And I think this basically gives players another arsenal to show their value or showcase their value. Whereas right now we're currently just focusing, like what you said, on OPS. This allows us to show how they can better a team as a whole, how they're looking at more of like that old school approach to baseball. And it's a modern way to make these classic stats relevant again.
Well, Brooke, this is really good stuff, and you can check out more of these videos to get explanations on the stats that we're discussing here at Brooke Knows Ball on Instagram. I see the page right now. Jerry Seinfeld follows you, big Mets fan, so I'm sure that's pretty cool, and he's into some of the stats you're throwing out there. How did you come up with this stuff? And when you look at the modern game right now, clearly you're smart, right? You're coming up with a stat. We always say, hey, we got to come up with other stats, and you've actually gone and done the work. So when you were looking at the stats that were being valued now, it's interesting to hear someone who's obviously young and a big fan of the sport say, yeah, I like some of the advanced stats, but I think we should create some others to make sure we're valuing what is actually important, which is winning games.
Well, first of all, thank you. That's a huge compliment, especially coming from this team right here. But and when Jerry Seinfeld followed, I almost fell out of my chair. That was shows me that I was going in the right direction, it seems, and I think it definitely came from his Mets fandom. But I think modern stats got out of control, especially if you're a new fan approaching baseball. It gets very confusing. It gets a little bit muddled and you're not really sure what's going on. So this is essentially a way to shed light on classic concepts where you can't make new fans understand old school arguments. It's the way that I like to explain it in simple terms is because I keep saying I like more of a traditional baseball approach. However, it's like your parents saying, well, back in my day, you don't really want to hear that. So instead, myself and I do have a production partner that helps me. And honestly, I think his brain is far more analytical than mine. And I get a lot of education from him. And we work on these stats together to essentially create something that can talk to your modern analytical fan, but bring them back to more of that old school approach. So it's just like a revised old school mentality to the game.
Of all the videos that you put out, what's the best reaction that you've gotten from the videos?
I think it kind of depends on what your fandom is for baseball. So if you are more of this analytical fan, then by far, of course, it's been V-Slug, impact slugging, WIP. But the thing that I think had more of a broader response, and to me was very touching, was the Tyler Skaggs video that I did. I got deeply emotional responses that people were saying that they were left in tears. And for those that may not have seen the video, it's essentially the story of the game that followed his passing. And it was a game that seemed nearly impossible. His mother was throwing perfect ceremonial first pitch. Mike Trout got a first inning homer. The no-hitter the Angels pitched. It's kind of funny because I think sometimes real life is stranger than fiction, and this was definitely one of those times. And the responses that I was getting, both from DMs, comments, etc., it deeply resonated with people and was very profound to witness.
That is a good way to put it. If there was a movie and they were like, and in the game they honored him, there was a no-hitter, people would be like, that's made up, that's fake, that doesn't actually happen. And it really did happen. That's very cool. Well, Brooke, thanks for stopping by. We'd love to have you back sometime. Love what you're doing, and glad that we discovered your content. Keep doing your thing. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you guys so much. It's been a pleasure and honor to be here, and I hope to speak with you all again soon.
Thank Let's hit it. Hey, do you like the new logo? Shiny. BetMGM locks. Looks good. All right, let's yes, Kratz, did you want to make a comment?
No, it's just gleaming.
It is. Ooh. Rays and White Sox free game of the day streaming on the BetMGM app. Live streaming available to all BetMGM customers logged in and with funded accounts. Yesterday, AJ with a banger at plus 211. St. Louis and Seattle scored enough and Toronto won. I took the Boston money line. That's a dub. Oh, man. Kratz. Cantillo. Whew. Had a day for Cleveland, huh? How many Ks did he end up with? 7?
5.
Oh, he had 5? It was Gallen that messed you up?
That was the no sweat one. Gallen just never got it going. He had never gotten less than 6 strikeouts against the Giants in his career, and he was He was not pumping up the strikeouts. So on to today.
Good for you. I was wrong. I mean, I wasn't watching pitch by pitch of Cantillo, but I think he went 8 innings, right?
He did, and he needed all 8 to get just his 5 strikeouts.
Jeez, crazy. All right, well, good for you. What are you doing tonight?
Taj Bradley, strikeouts. I'm going over 5.5. Taj Bradley, the new Taj Bradley, who is studying, and he's facing the Angels, who strike out more than anybody in the league. And it's plus 110. I'm putting down 200 to win 220.
Hot corner time. Let's talk about the Nats general manager search, Kratz. Mike Rizzo was let go in July, and Mike DeBartolo is the interim GM. But Bob Nightingale first was reporting about it, and then the story came out in The Athletic. Ken's involved in that story, and they are interviewing a number of candidates, which include Carter Hawkins, the Cubs' current GM, Diamondbacks executive Amiel Sade, and Dodgers senior vice president Josh Burns. There's the article. Carter Hawkins gets the picture on the page. What do you think?
I think DeBartolo, from what I've heard from Nats people, had a lot more to do with some of these massive trade hauls that they've brought in. And why he's not the one that's up for it, I don't know. But whoever they bring in, whoever it ends up being, if Carter Hawkins is the guy, they need to build up this minor league system. And I don't mean with just people that are traded and brought over. I'm talking the staff needs to be able to produce more minor leaguers that have a big league impact. Everybody that's had a big league impact was either their first pick in the draft, which there's not a lot of development with, or traded and picked up from another team, which there's not a lot of development. It's just like, hey, we're going to give you 200 at-bats in AA, 100 in AAA, and then you'll come up to the big leagues. Like, that's whoever they get, that better be their specialty.
For the record, or at least according to the article, DeBartolo, who's the interim GM, is in the mix. So he is among the candidates. They're just listing other ones. They're doing their homework, which I will give them credit for.
Smart.
Wait. So they're going to hire a new GM, and they're going to do, at the very least, what's called an info suck and find out information about how other teams are operating. Not every team does that, but good on the Nats for doing it. Let me give you a little bit more context on Carter Hawkins, since I think he's the highest position-wise of the external candidates, and he's the face on the article there. So he's the GM of the Cubs, and in the article they said with the Cubs closing in on their first playoff berth since 2020, Hawkins has been involved in revamping the club's R&D, research and development department, and streamlining scouting on the pro, amateur, and international sides with a bigger emphasis on data and video rather than in-person evaluations. He was hired away from the Guardians after the 2021 season. Cubs have been developing much better lately, if I'm using that as a blanket statement, and Sahadev Sharma somewhat agreed with that yesterday. So that would be a good sign and would play into what Kratz is talking about. If you're the Nats, you need to develop more players.
Yeah, we also need people that are actually seeing players. I don't agree with just the full, we're going to go full A's and go no scouts in the field, because the A's haven't won anything. The A's haven't won shit. So let's also establish that. You got to have people out there watching guys to get to know the players. Just watching them on video doesn't give you anything on their makeup or any of that. You got to actually have communication with players and see them play and see them struggle and see how they react.
Mm-hmm.
When I ran into Carter Hawkins in the Guardians organization, Indians at the time, he was part of the group there, the front office group there, that really did a good job of weeding out coaches and front office who, without mincing words, weren't good people. Like, the group of people that the Guardians have there now in the front office, coaching staffs, their exact wording was, yes, we want good coaches, but we want people who can really lead men. So if Carter Hawkins can bring that over to wherever he becomes a GM next, wherever he becomes a president of baseball operations next, I think that organization will have a leg up. Look at what Chaim Bloom did with the Red Sox. Yes, he got the short end of the stick as, they didn't give him any money to spend and he got fired, but you're seeing a lot of that come to fruition. That starts not just with the players that are picked, but with the coaches that are in the minor league system. So I know for a fact, because I saw Carter Hawkins in those situations with the Guardians, that's his background, and I hope he would bring that and not just the like impersonal, hey, we're going to watch everything on video and never actually get our eyes on somebody.
The other thing for the Nats is eventually they're going to have to figure out what their plan is from the tippy top. The ownership situation was they're up for sale. It sounded like they didn't get the price they wanted, and they haven't been putting much into the team. So where are we at right now?
Yeah, are they going to sell? Are they going to stay? Or are they going to buy some players? Because that was always a thing when they won. They went out and got players.
Yeah. And they don't have to lead the league in payroll.
But they need to go out and get the Max Scherzers, the Patrick Corbins, those guys. Jason Worth, to come in and fill the right roles.
The star power worked for them, the star power acquisitions. Remember Max Scherzer at the time? People are like, what? You're paying him what? He was worth every penny.
Back-to-back Cy Youngs.
Yeah. He gave you the individual. He gave you the World Series title. He gave you everything. And I thought this past season was going to be the year that they made a little push. Kratz, I was like, maybe they'll go get an ace. Maybe they'll go get a big boy bat to go along with some of the younger bats and show them the way. They just didn't do it. So that's part of this. And that's not going to be controlled by whoever they bring in next. I mean, whoever they bring in next, hopefully eventually is with, I would say either an ownership group that's recommitting or they're moving on. I think they're moving on. I think they're going to sell. I'm pretty confident that they're looking to sell. They just want to wait until they get through the next collective bargaining agreement, which sounds like it's the case for almost all of them at this point. Doesn't it sound like many of the owners are pulling back because they think they're going to get more after the collective bargaining agreement gets settled?
Yeah, but they're not going to sell 3 teams in 2027. You can't. There's just not that many people that have that much money just hanging around to purchase teams. Like
I disagree.
Like you think, because then also those guys are getting sucked up by the teams or the new expansion teams too. Like you're talking people in the billions. So
yeah, but these are people in separate cities. Like, I mean, AJ, where do you stand on this one? For me, let's use the Twins as an example. They said, we are selling this team for $1.7 billion, plus you take on, I think, about $400 million of debt. And there were billionaires in the running, and it sounds like most of them valued it at around 1.5, and maybe that even felt generous, because really 1.5 is 1.9 because of the $400 million in debt. That's real money. And so they said, this is what it's worth, and the Twins laughed and hung up the phone on them. That's a real story in The Athletic. So I think there are interested parties, but there's a line even for billionaires where they're like, I have to pay an extra $200 million for something that I already think is mispriced. Like how much of a tax is there? Everybody has their limit. They don't have unlimited money, even though they're billionaires. So do you think that those 3 teams could get sold post CBA?
I don't know if that's what they're waiting for. The Learners have been talking about selling this team forever. So I don't know. I mean, the Rays are about to be sold in the next, I think it's going to become official probably in the next couple of weeks here. The Twins are got to get sold at some point. The Nats, who else? The A's would like to be sold at some point, but
yeah,
the White Sox are going to be sold at some point before 2029, according to the agreement that was signed. So there's teams, people will buy these teams. You just have to find the right people to buy the teams, because there's been people that have bought teams also that haven't been the right people and they haven't worked out. Then Frank McCourt comes to mind with the Dodgers, right? He bought the team, didn't have the money, but he got the deal of the century. He still gets all the parking, even though he doesn't own the team. He worked out a deal to sell the team, but he keeps all the parking, which is valuable as heck because there's no overhead on the parking. You just collect money. That's a great. Frank, call me. I want that deal.
Well, from what I recall, and it was a minute ago, he was borrowing a ton of money. He was backed up in debt and some other issues, and they wanted him out. And he had some leverage, and he's like, cool, I'll get out, like you're asking, but I want the parking lots. I mean, didn't we just hear about this with Stu Sternberg with the Rays? Mm-hmm. Where eventually the league's like, hey, dude, it's been 20 plus years. It's not working. You got to get us a new ballpark so we can move on here. And now he's selling the team and still gets to keep a little bit so he can profit off the back end. But anyway, getting back to the point here, Nationals fans, Kratz, feel like the biggest problem is that the team has sat out, but it's going to be up to someone else to figure that out.
I think there's a fundamental just personnel issue with ownership. Like if ownership doesn't allow GMs to go and spend money, you can't do anything about that. And as good as Mike Rizzo's was like he probably, he's the one that came out of this unscathed because they won a World Series. But every year the organization, if you go there at the end of the year, they start cutting people at the end of the year. They cut coaches from their staff. They cut minor league coaches out. Like it's an organization that lacks fundamental like employee satisfaction, because I don't think ownership really cares about what the product is on the field, especially after they got their World Series. So fans should be pissed off when they don't make a move, especially with the young core that they have in place.
Yeah, they were always famous for trying to lowball managers. Remember, they almost had Bud Black. They lowballed him. So anyway, you can look all of that up, but we'll keep everyone posted on the search here and see how it goes. We'll swing back. We'll do slap hands. We're going to stay on bonus time online for a couple minutes today, too, to get ready for May Day.
FT Nation, all my people at FT, the FT boys, what's happening? It's your boy Parlay Pap coming to you. I'm on a heater, I know it, you don't even gotta tell me. We just getting that cheese, baby. So here we go. Another parlay for you, two-legger, plus 117. We putting 100 on it. We're going Blake Snell and Nick Pivetta tonight. Padres ain't losing the Reds again tonight, and the Dodgers are gonna do their thing against the Rockies, and it's that simple, and it's that easy. Peace.
He is on a heater again. I got to give it to him. What are you doing tonight?
I'm doing over 17.5 outs for Andrew Abbott in San Diego. Padres haven't hit, and he's been pretty good. He averages about 17.3 outs. I think he can get through 6 innings against the Padres. And then I'm going over 8 for the Tigers and the Yankees. It's Rodon versus Flaherty, and I think over 8 in that ballpark seems like a pretty easy number to get. All it takes is 1 3-run homer mistake from each team, and you're almost there. So I think that's it, and it's plus 230 plus 230
plus 230. Okay, I'm going. I think mine's minus 135, and we can show the board. Oh, they joked. A 2-game heater, by the way, for Pat. So it's not a crazy winning streak, but it's 2. 2 is better than 1. For me, Jack Flaherty over strikeouts. I'm just purely playing narrative. I do sometimes look at a couple sites to see what they weigh on strikeout props, and it did weigh in the direction I wanted. But the real reason I'm doing this is the Jack Flaherty storyline from last year. I know that he faced them in the World Series last year, but regular season, didn't he have this against someone else where he was pissed and he pumped a bunch of strikeouts? I think it was against St. Louis.
Was it the Cardinals?
Yeah, I think it was against St. Louis. So I'm going to play to the same narrative here. Over 5.5 punch outs. Minus 135 to win a hundo. I would think about even teasing it where you also do the 6.5 to get yourself in plus money. But also just going to keep it safe on my lock to go over. Parlay boost token, score a bigger payout. Use it on an MLB game. Go give it a look. FT fam, if you have a BetMGM account, that parlay boost token can be added to a parlay wager made up entirely of MLB bets. Activate the token. If you win, you get a bigger payout. Gambling problem or concern? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. We're coming back for slap. let's slap in congrats. We didn't get to this one earlier in the show, but Kyle Schwarber's got 50 pumps this year. Pretty damn good. Apparently, his first words after he hit it were, finally, because it had been 10 games. I guess when you're hitting 50.
4 homers, he didn't hit one.
Right. And when you hit 50 homers in a season, 10 games, which is 2 weeks, feels like a long, long time.
It was the longest stretch of the season. I think they 36 or 7 at bats. That's crazy. That's some people's career average, 36 or 37 at bats per homer.
He thought he was slumping. By the way, in that game, Mets fall, Phillies win, Rangers Suarez had a nice performance. Sean Manaea didn't. He's still going to keep doing his thing, his turns in the rotation, but man, it's going to be fascinating to see what the Mets end up doing with their rotation.
Especially in a 3-game series.
Yeah, especially
also,
in a 3-game
Juan Soto,
series.
this goes back to Brooke when we had her on. Juan Soto stole his 30th base with 2 outs and down by 5, stole third. That's why some stats aren't created equal. Yeah, he went 30-30, but, stealing third, down 5 with 2 outs. Go ahead, Juan. You can have it. Pad your stat.
Yeah.
On the telecast, they were like, yeah, I guess he really wanted to get to third to get his 30-30 season. It was really just it should have been a moment to celebrate, and not so much.
All right, we're back. Kratz Hatz today, purple. What are we thinking?
It's a minor league one. I don't know. I won't know it.
Oh.
Melon heads.
Yep.
Backyard baseball. It's minor league. Everybody probably is deked unless they could see the minor league logo on the front, which is funny.
That's true.
Why is the minor league logo somebody opening up to hit it, and the big league logo is somebody staying closed and nice swing?
That's a good question. Why is that? Just because it's been there forever?
The major league logo is Harmon Killebrew in just his side profile. So
yeah, it's a nice swing.
Who's the minor league? Is it just fake?
Mike Hessman?
Just some random guy.
Mike Hessman. Who's the best quad A guy that you remember watching? Is it Mike Hessman? And if it is, who else? Who would be second?
I mean, do you have to have a limitation on how much big league time?
I guess no.
Ernie Young won tons of batting titles and home run titles in the bushes. He got some big league time, a year. Mike Jacobs, I feel was kind of a quad A guy until he got popped in the big leagues. He had a nice year and a half with the Marlins. I'm trying to think somebody else. Quad A guys. I'll have to come back to you on that one.
Okay. That might be fun someday to go over that.
Eddie Williams. Check out Eddie Williams' numbers if you haven't seen him.
Eddie Williams. I'm trying to think who I liked.
Trinidad
Mike
Hubbard.
has a home run.
Ooh.
Check out Trinidad Hubbard.
Yep.
There was a bunch of guys back in the day that would go up and down.
Jeff Manto. Bam Bam Mullins.
Bam Bam Mullins was that guy?
I never played against him, I don't think.
He got probably too much big league time. But
I got to think. That might be a good segment, Kratz.
okay.
Best all-time quad A's.
Like that.
Okay, I'm writing it down. I'm writing it down on the idea sheet. May Day, coming at you. A reminder, Wednesdays are May Day with Trevor May. Right here on the FT Network, coming up right after FT. We'll do this every Wednesday. He's live for the first hour there and then brings you live to his channel. So let's see what Trevor has to say this week, and we'll see everyone else tomorrow.